Hey there and welcome back to XCOM 2. My name is Pete and today we complete episode 3 of our Legend Ironman walkthrough of XCOM 2 War of the Chosen. First of all, just like I said in the last RimWorld episode, apologies for making you wait a while for this one. This time, however, there is another reason apart from my sadly still ongoing health issues, and I would like to talk about that now, and actually let's take a quick look back at a crucial moment from episode 1. We will also enable all available DLC and select the option here to integrate them into the War of the Chosen expansion. In my experience, that simply offers a smoother storyline progression and makes the DLC missions fit in a bit better. Now, I still stand by what I said regarding the better flow of the DLC missions with this option enabled. However, and I have to say, I probably would have completely overlooked this if it weren't for your comments on the first 2 episodes, checking the integrated DLC option causes a huge problem for the completionist aspect of the series, because it will not only prevent us from playing 2 additional small missions that offer a bit more background on the new storyline elements, but, and perhaps even more importantly, by checking this option, we will also not be able to unlock the achievements associated with those extra missions. Now, of course, we can't have that, so I have spent the last few days correcting this mistake, and believe me, that was easier said than done. As this is a choice that you have to make before starting a new game, there is no way to change it in an existing save file, so for better or worse, I had the almost ridiculous sounding task ahead of me of starting a new playthrough and getting it to the exact same point in the game where we left off last time. Now, I'll spare you the finer details, as this took me about 3.5 full workdays, but thanks to some handy mods, the game's console commands and a few backup saves, I was able to almost completely replicate the events from the first 2 videos. So, we are still playing on Legend Ironman difficulty, our squad is still the exact same, they all still have the same stats, kills and missions, every bit of loot we obtained is the same, our starting location is the same, the type and number of enemies we've killed is the same. In other words, you will need to put on your very best detective hat to actually find some differences between this and the previous episode. What has slightly changed is the layout of the Avenger facilities, but the most important things, the first rebuilding slot and the 2 exposed power coils, are still in the exact same location. In terms of the in-game date, we are also just about 45 minutes earlier compared to where we ended the last episode, simply because that second mission showed up a few seconds earlier, but other than that, we are in fact continuing right where we left off last time. We even received the exact same engineer as a reward for completing that second mission.
Hello, Commander.
And because Dr. M. Dendra, nicknamed Ocherot, is actually also a creation from one of my Patreon supporters, let us not skip his biography. Now, Patron Ocherot, I hope I pronounced that correctly, the creator of Mr. Dendra, submitted the bio in German, but I took the liberty of translating it for you guys, and here is what they wrote. Ocherot was picked up by alien troops outside a city center in France. Apparently, he rammed one of the Advent security towers with a stolen vehicle in order to knock it down. Obviously, this attempt failed, but his instincts convince us. And while he is now excavating some alien debris to clear us additional building space, we head over to research to change our current research focus. At the end of the last episode, we received the task that you can see in the top left corner. We need to research resistance communications to unite the scattered resistance cells against the aliens, and we actually want to do so as soon as possible, as this is arguably one of the most important early game projects to complete.
Hello, Commander. Work is well underway, but it will be some time yet before my research is complete.
So we are now putting our alien biotech research on hold for a few days and instead start resistance communications immediately. You can also see here that the experimental weapons project has vanished. That is because we now no longer have the integrated DLC option enabled. Don't worry though, we will still be able to gain access to all of those weapons, albeit in a slightly different way.
Commander, we've already dedicated considerable resources toward the current research project. However, we can move on to something else if you'd prefer. I'll ensure that this new project takes highest priority, Commander. Once we have something to report, I'll notify you immediately.
And with all of that taken care of, I think it's time to head back to the bridge. Let's see what new adventures are waiting for us.
Commander, we have a lead on the alien black site, but we'll have to rely on the local resistance to actually get us into the facility. We should try to make contact with their forces in the region as soon as possible. It's the only way we're going to find out what's behind this so-called Avatar project.
Alright, here we see the next big step in the main plotline. We need to take out that black site. However, before we can do that, we need to make contact with the local resistance, who seemingly have more info on it, and to do that, we need to research resistance communications first. So for the moment, we can't do anything more but to take note of the black site's existence.
Commander, you're not gonna believe this. We just picked up a signal from an emergency locator beacon. It's definitely one of ours, from the original invasion. I know it sounds crazy, but if there's any chance some of our people could still be out there, I think we owe it to them to find out.
Now, this here is part of the Alien Hunters DLC, which is now no longer integrated, and that means instead of researching experimental weapons, this locator beacon here is now our new way of obtaining these new weapons. As you can imagine though, those weapons are a bit more powerful than what we currently have, so let's not grab them right away to avoid making things too easy. In addition, we are also already in the process of obtaining a few new rookies from a scanning site that we started last time, so let's finish that first before we move on.
Avenger plotting new course.
These rookies, by the way, will be very important for us, as our current active roster only consists of 13 soldiers, and even though they are all healthy again, we will need to give them frequent rests regardless. And so we'll gladly accept 2 new faces into our ranks, Golden Hog and Sophie Blade, both of course Patreon creations, but we'll get to their biographies once we take them out on their first mission. For now, the next site of interest once again holds supplies for us in store, so while we save those DLC weapons for a later date, let's head over there.
Avenger plotting new course.
You are too trusting, John. The Skirmishers are Advent. Advent is the enemy. The enemy is food.
Try not to bring that up when we meet, Volk.
You take their side after all we've seen these years.
Look, I'm not exactly having drinks with them, but they did hold up their end of the bargain. What about you?
Wait and see. Volk out.
Actually think they might show up. Commander, that was Konstantin Volokov, Volk to his friends. He and his Reapers are a big part of the reason why you're standing here today. Volk may be a little rough around the edges, but he's the real deal. Heads one of 3 resistance groups operating independently from us that we consider a legitimate threat to Advent. Together, they'd make one hell of a fighting force. Too bad they hate each other. Still, we've made some unlikely progress. Volk's Reapers may have found you, but they weren't acting alone. They were tipped off by a group of Advent defectors known as the Skirmishers. No one's big on working with these guys, knowing where they came from. But you wouldn't be here without their help. Both the Reapers and the Skirmishers have agreed to suspend hostilities provided you serve as the go-between. Trust doesn't come easy between these two, so we're heading for a nice quiet spot on neutral ground. Even so, let's not take any chances. Intel on this area is weak, and we're picking up strange chatter on comms. Not to mention we're ending a decade-long blood feud today. I'd advise our soldiers to be fully prepared before we deploy on this one, Commander. Good luck.
Some of my people could use a hand in the field. Shouldn't be anything too tough. What do you say?
Alright, welcome to the first introduction to the War of the Chosen DLC. Yes, the early game with all of those DLC can get a bit overwhelming, but we have just made contact with one of 3 more unique resistance factions that don't really have anything to do with the resistance of the game's main storyline. In fact, these Reapers played a large role in breaking us out, so let's return the favor.
Not sure how long our contacts are going to wait for us, Commander, so I'd recommend we proceed as soon as possible. All available soldiers are standing by to deploy.
As you can see, in exchange for securing the meeting between the Reaper faction and the Skirmisher faction, we will receive some intel as well as the scientific expertise of Dr. Adam Jagielski. So let us jump into what is going to be today's mission, and it's going to be a long one.
Setting course for Sector 11, West Africa.
Each faction has agreed to allow a two-person squad to escort them to the rendezvous point. Hopefully that should be enough to keep them from killing each other. We've got a temporary ceasefire in place for the duration of the meet, but still, that doesn't mean we shouldn't be ready for anything.
Now, as you can see, this time we need to take 2 teams of 2 soldiers each, and of course we won't take 2 rangers on the same one, so instead let's once again employ the magic of editing to avoid spoiling the rest of the active character pool, and let's meet Nicholas Mouth Finlay, our only rookie for today, submitted by patron Nick Finlay. His biography: Nicholas grew up during the alien invasion, losing both his parents to a chrysalid attack. He joined XCOM at the age of 18, and his non-stop talking and explaining earned him his nickname. So let's hope he won't annoy his squad member, our second ranger Fast Starfall Antac, and for team number 2 we bring back the fully healed Sapphire West as well as our heavy Twitchy, who will now actually be the only soldier having participated in all 3 missions so far.
Sky Ranger deployed.
Menace, ready to deploy.
The Reapers and Skirmishers have been at each other's throats for years, so we're keeping the exact meeting point strictly need to know. You'll split into 2 squads, rendezvous with each faction, and bring their envoy directly to the location of the meet. Officially, this city no longer exists, so we don't expect a lot in the way of advent resistance. Still, keep your eyes peeled. It's been about 20 years since we last stepped foot in this place. Proceed to the first set of coordinates. Firebrand and the second team will head to the next drop point.
Detecting increasing biological signatures in the area ahead.
Then I'd say we're in the right place. Stay sharp out there today, people. Just because this city was abandoned doesn't mean it's lifeless.
If you are hungry, there's more where that came from. Impressive reflexes, but unnecessary.
Stand down. We're all friends here.
You are safe here. More so than you imagine. We shall see if the same holds true for these skirmishers of yours. Your presence already disturbs them. We must move quickly. My people will take care of this camp. Come.
Uploading the coordinates to the rendezvous point now. We've plotted the most direct route there. We don't know much about the skirmisher contact you'll be meeting other than his name. Mox.
Mox. Pratal Mox. His death squads wiped out entire camps of my people in the first years of the war. You would dare do this?
Pretty sure hands are bloody on both sides of this fight. That's the whole point of this intervention.
Reapers are born in the shadows, in the cold, harsh world that was waiting for us out there. We rely on stealth and long-range attacks. And our marksmen are unmatched by even the best XCOM has to offer.
Alright, so quite a bit to unpack here, most notably the fact that we are now in control of a new squad member, the Reaper Elena Dragunova, nickname Outrider. As a member of the Reaper faction, she possesses the Reaper Shadow ability, basically a special form of concealment which has a chance to keep her hidden even if she attacks an enemy. So a large focus on moving stealthily with her, which does of course make her the perfect candidate to scout ahead.
I understand.
Damaged and dormant all these years, these devices still emit trace elements of unstable radiation. I cannot fathom what they were like in their original function.
We were there, Doctor. You're better off having missed it.
And yes, we still know these devices from our first series, and it looks like they have stood the test of time, at least so far. For now, with no enemies in sight, let's move up Mouth and Starfall and see what happens next.
Location confirmed.
No more time for regrets. We are not alone.
Those things, they still look like people.
What was human died years ago. Only the taint of the aliens survives now. Where there is one, more will follow. You must not hesitate to destroy them.
These creatures' DNA has mutated well beyond what we would classify as human. Perhaps the result of long-term exposure to the alien radiation from those pods. Though why anyone would subject themselves to that, I cannot imagine.
When the governments fell, millions starved. Many fled to cities such as this to scavenge for food. They did not heed the warnings.
Okay, so it looks like we have stumbled upon the side effects of the old alien devices, and yes, we are very much dealing with zombie-like creatures here. These Lost only have one purpose, and that is to rush and attack anyone in sight, and of course we do not want to let it come to that. So, as we move up with our rookie Nicholas here, let's see if he can get his first kill.
Good riddance.
These creatures' true strength lies in their numbers. As you can see, they fall easily. If we are careful with our shots, we will prevail.
Alright, lovely, and we are also introduced to a new mechanic with these Lost, as one-shot kills against them do not cost an action. In other words, as long as our shots keep killing them, we can continue to fire for as long as we have ammo, so let's see if Nicholas here can chain up 2 kills in a row. Well, he cannot, and that now ends his turn. Maybe Starfall Antag is a bit more lucky.
Enemies down.
Alright, and that's all enemies in range defeated, so let's keep scouting with Elena,
Come get some.
while Ranger Starfall uses the action that he still has left over to go on Overwatch.
No time to spare.
And as you can see, the movement range of these Lost is nothing spectacular, so there is no need to keep too much of a distance.
My people have encountered these beings before. At first, they may appear mindless, but they hear quite well. In great numbers, they can be very deadly.
Now at this point, we want to take note of the fact that the Lost apparently have great hearing, but for now, let's keep shooting them. Okay, so our rookie is not off to a great start. Meanwhile, thanks to his shotgun, Starfall Antag has 2 guaranteed kills and can clean up the mess.
Hostile neutralized. I'm running low on ammo. Enemy destroyed. Back online. Negative, weapons dry.
His free action is then spent on reloading, while Reaper Dragunova continues to scout well ahead of the group. As long as she is concealed, we shouldn't have any issues with her. Out on the balcony here then, she also detects quite a few more Lost, but again, for now, line of sight is a one-way street with her. Oh, and by the way, the map for this mission is always the same, so I feel confident in taking a few more calculated risks.
An entire city of our own people left to turn into these things.
Yes. All we can offer them now is a merciful death.
Alright, we only have one more enemy in range, so let's bring Rookie Finlay up to the high ground as well now and take the shot.
Hostile neutralized.
Got no ammo.
And that earns him the promotion as well as an ability point. Again, we'll talk a bit more about those some other time. For now, let's reload and also change balconies with Outrider Dragunova.
Extraction point is close, but looks like these things don't want to make it easy for you.
We will make it to your pet advent in time.
Ranger Starfall, meanwhile, will stay on the ground floor, where he will attract the bulk of the enemy attention, but he should be able to handle that. And while we do have more and more Lost converging on our position, there is no need to panic. Again, they won't be able to cover too much ground in one turn, so Mr. Antec is still pretty safe right now.
These creatures are worse even than Advent. They have no cause, no fear, they simply exist. If we do not defeat the aliens soon, we will become little more than they are.
Now, since the Lost are staying on the ground for now, we can use Nicholas's entire turn to dash, while Ranger Starfall moves up just a few tiles for guaranteed hits, and also attracts a bit more attention in doing so. Still, no cause for concern just yet. Let's deliver 2 more headshots.
Got him. Kill confirmed. Ready to rock.
Afterwards, we can reload his shotgun, and now it is finally Dragunova's turn to act. The high ground gives her guaranteed hits as well, so let's fire away.
Good riddance.
And here you can see it. Despite taking a shot, her concealment remains intact. The chances for that to keep happening, however, are getting lower and lower with each consecutive shot.
Return to your gods. I'll need more ammo soon.
And there we are. Our Reaper has now been detected, and that activates a few more Lost. But still, we have this well under our control.
Tell your gods I'm coming. Give me time to reload.
With 3 Lost killed in one turn, we also unlock our next achievement and can now finish the turn by reloading and overwatching, which is going to trigger a reaction shot right away.
No one will mourn them.
Now here you can see that the Lost are able to climb ladders, so while the high ground starts off free of them, that is not guaranteed to remain that way.
We risk all this for Pratal Mox? If he is not what you say he is, I shall kill him myself.
Looking forward to this meeting already.
With a good shot here, Nicholas then gets himself some breathing room.
Target neutralized.
And let's keep going for a little while longer.
Target disabled. Got him. On reserve.
And with the first reload now taken care of, we can switch over to Starfall Antec just to keep the kills evenly distributed.
Nailed him. Enemy down. Target eliminated.
Our Reaper, meanwhile, can already move closer to the extraction zone, but not without taking at least one more shot of her own in the process.
Remember,
Biological readings in your general area are clear. No more creatures on approach.
For now.
Then let's not linger here. Head to the evac coordinates now.
And that is indeed our signal. No more enemies remain, so let's get out of here.
Central. Biological signatures are grouping into a singular mass, one closing in on this position.
A swarm. We must push forward before it arrives.
And yes, as far as I know, that swarm never actually arrives, even if we remain here for a few more turns. So, since we have done all that we can, let's dash for the evac zone and complete the first part of the mission.
A momentary victory. Others are surely on the way. We must keep moving.
No argument here. Continue to the rendezvous point.
Moving to designated coordinates.
You should have a clear path through now. Second squad is already en route to Mox. Proceed to the rendezvous and await their arrival.
Oh, we'll be there.
Looks like trouble ahead. The rendezvous could be compromised. Stay focused. Contact! Get down! We may have a bigger problem here. I'm guessing that's our man. Well, our contact anyway.
Crocksod. Advent. Puppet. Voxtala. 410. They were sent here to hunt. To purge the Drop 10. The Lost. Our meeting point is still secure. She is free of the imposter gods. I would give anything that all my kind could say the same. Even sit down with your Reapers. Now, we must go.
Rendezvous with Outrider is further ahead. Proceed through this district as quickly as possible, but be careful. Something tells me this city still has a few more surprises to throw our way.
Surprises are the least of our worries today. It is these Reapers of yours that are of true concern.
We, the Skirmishers, were created by the false gods of this world to serve and die as their puppets. We retain all that we were and more, and our prowess in battle serves us well in our cause. In close combat, none can stand opposed to us.
Alright, so begins the second part of the mission, and this time with the Skirmishers and their representative Pratal Mox. As a close-quarters oriented faction, the Skirmishers come equipped with a grappling hook and the ability to shoot twice in one turn, so we should almost always be able to have Mox close to the action, and preferably on the high ground as well. For now though, we start things off with a few dashes on the ground. Again, the map is always the same, so there is no risk in doing this. No movement then on the alien turn, so let's send Heavy Twitchy up ahead to scout out the area.
Heading there now!
Don't remember seeing these things before.
You were not meant to. Purifiers were created with a singular purpose, to contain the Drop 10, the Lost. We must eliminate this patrol quickly before others arrive.
Fine by me. Take them down!
Okay, yet another new type of enemy. These Advent Purifiers come equipped with flamethrowers and incendiary grenades. Needless to say, we do not want to get hit by them, which is thankfully not too hard to avoid, as their weapon's range is somewhat limited and they only use their grenade if we stand too close to each other. And because of that, we will opt for the tactical retreat now with Twitchy, getting her completely out of the line of sight.
Heading to that location!
Mox, meanwhile, uses his grappling hook, which does not cost an action and has a pretty good range, to get to the high ground and also out of the Purifier's vision. The idea here is to lure them forward, ideally using dashes, bring them out of cover and into our reaction shots, as both Mox and Sapphire West will now go on Overwatch.
No trespassers.
I'm on it!
You weren't kidding when you said those tanks could explode. Careful with these things. We don't need to take any unnecessary chances.
Alright, one down, one to go, and yes, we have learned that people carrying flamethrowers tend to explode when we shoot them. Very good to know indeed. What's even better, Mox can stay on the high ground here and flank the guy below him. His bullpup assault rifle will do at least 3 points of damage, and that guarantees the kill.
They live no more. The patrol has been liberated. May their lives not be lost in vain. We must push forward and complete our mission.
Works for me. Move out.
This time no explosion and also no more enemies in sight, and with the extraction zone ahead of us, let's keep our squad together and moving forward.
Ready to rock!
The turn then passes without the aliens even really getting one, indicating that we are in fact alone on the map right now, but as you can imagine that is not going to last long, so let's spend the second half of Mox's turn reloading, while Twitchy and Sapphire take a position on the highest point of the map.
Moving to Overwatch!
Once again then, no alien or lost action whatsoever, so let's use Mox here to advance a bit further.
I will move.
This is no patrol. It's an army.
Yes, one we do not have time to face.
Everyone, get back! Purifiers may be down, but unfortunately, that was our extraction point.
I fear that is not the worst of it. Multiple biological signatures rapidly on approach to your position.
The lost. The sounds of combat excite them. They are drawn to it.
And you just blew up a fuel truck?
There was no other choice. Find an alternate exit. We will deal with the lost. Draklar. Dashers. They are not as docile as the rest of their kind.
An apt description. It would seem the mutation has somehow accelerated these Dashers' metabolism, allowing enhanced speed and agility, with a corresponding increase in aggression.
Alright, looks like we'll get to fight some Lost with this squad as well now, and we've also heard the first mention of these so-called Dashers. You can probably already imagine what they are all about. Now, luckily, Twitchy and Sapphire are already in very good positions, and we can get Mox into an even better one by moving back and then grappling onto the container here.
Tactical movement.
This is in fact now a new turn after the cutscene, so everyone has all of their actions, and Mox is now actually completely untouchable up here.
I stand ready.
I'm on it! Affirmative! Covering now! Hostiles pacified!
The shockwave of that explosion reverberated throughout most of the city. I would expect a significant reaction from the Lost.
The only reaction I will accept from them is their deaths. Find us that exit.
So we now need to hold off the Lost for 3 more turns until we can be evacuated, and until then we have our work cut out for us. The enemies closest to us are Lost Dashers, who obviously move a bit faster than regular Lost, but just like their regular counterparts, come in variants with only 2 hit points, meaning they can be killed with just a pistol shot from Sniper Alyssa. The pistol can also fire indefinitely without needing to be reloaded, and Miss West is therefore only limited by the number of enemies in range.
Hostile neutralized! It's down!
And for the last enemy then, we are going back to her sniper rifle.
No longer a threat!
Lovely, and for the other side, we are now leaving things to Heavy Twitchy.
Target down! Toss me some ammo! Enemy destroyed! Ammo out!
And that's all for now, so let's move Mox into a slightly better position and then get in some reloads and overwatches.
Overwatch! Good to go! Moving to Overwatch! Target neutralized.
That whole area is hotter than we thought. Gonna need a little more time.
Understood. Holding position.
Okay, 2 more turns to go, and once again we don't have too many enemies in range at the moment, so Sniper West should have her side of the battlefield well under control.
Enemies down. Hostile neutralized. It's killing time.
And indeed she does, which already brings us to the end of our turn.
Scanning.
I will watch.
Come get some.
Readings are all over the place. The Lost are almost right on top of you. These Lost seem to be pretty sensitive to noise. The sounds of combat are likely to draw even more of them. Think we've got something here. Just need another minute.
You have your minute.
Right, so a swarm is closing in and we need to stay put for 1 more turn. We could of course already move to where I know the exit is going to be, but that feels a bit cheap to me. So instead we are just going to end our turn with another round of overwatches and wait for the first swarm of the series to make an appearance.
Got it covered.
Reloading ammunition. Watch order 4.
Not even close. Shot wide.
We found a new route that should get you to the rendezvous point safely. The Lost are still converging on the area, so make it fast.
That will not be a problem.
And there we are, with a literal swarm of Lost converging on our position, and with a new objective, as we can now end the mission at any point by getting everyone into the extraction zone. Making a move for it now would be very dangerous though, so let's first thin out the enemy numbers a bit, and since we have plenty of Lost with only 2 hit points in front of us, let's see how long we can keep Sapphire West going. Okay, 9 kills in 1 turn before she finally fails to do enough damage for number 10. Quite the kill streak by Alyssa here, and it should now be easy for the rest of the team to clean up the remaining Lost.
We deny our creators. Weapon depleted. My failure is my own.
Mox, however, already misses on his 2nd shot attempt, so it is now up to Miss Grace to finish the job.
It's down. Gonna need to reload soon. Taken care of.
And that actually earns her the next promotion to Corporal, and with that we have in fact killed the entire swarm in 1 turn. Now, we could have also used a grenade with Heavy Twitchy to make this much easier, but let's think back to what we have learned about the Lost. They have very good hearing, and the last big explosion triggered a large number of them to attack us, and that would in fact be the case again if we use explosives against them during the fight. And while you might now correctly think that additional enemies also mean additional experience points, then, well, the Lost do actually only give a fraction of the XP of a regular alien or advent enemy. I believe there is even a cap on how much XP you can gain from killing Lost during a single mission, although I am not entirely sure about that. In any case, there is no point in lingering around any longer, so we are now heading for the evac zone and can finally bring the 2 factions together.
I'm on the move!
Outrider and the first team should be waiting for you ahead. I know this wasn't the easiest stop, but I have to believe it'll still be worth it in the end.
That depends on the Reapers.
Rendezvous point directly ahead. Let's try and play nice today, people.
So, Advent's most brutal captain comes to atone for his crimes.
I am no longer that being. I am free now.
Taking off that helmet does not change what you are. Reapers have long memories, Elder Cruxard. Anytime.
The way I see it, we have two options. Join forces and kick the Elders off our world, or kill each other here and now. The choice is yours.
No one has ever done that before. No one shall ever do that again.
What the hell is that?
Vox Prima, Elder Assassin, relentless death that stalks my kind. Butcher of free Advent.
My people face another like her. They are the undying, Advent's curse upon us. We must combine strength if we are to have any chance of success.
You are welcome to try.
Your Reapers face a being such as this?
They appeared without warning years ago. Had they not, we would have already regained our home.
Such arrogance. The Elder's will extends throughout the universe. I am but one of their instruments.
Alright, welcome to the mission's grand finale, as it looks like we now face an enemy much more worthy of our attention than the Lost. The main problem is that we currently can't see her, so let's take up defensive positions for now. To start off, we will now recloak our Reaper Dragunova. We can do that once per mission.
I stalk my prey.
And so at least we now have a hidden soldier of our own to scout ahead.
It is in your hands.
With Mox, we can come down from the high ground. His grappling hook will allow him to get back up there if needed, while the rest of the squad will stay on the bridge, and we also won't bother with overwatches. You'll see why in just a moment.
We're green to go.
Cover me, I'm reloading.
Protective position.
Consider yourselves lucky.
Okay, meet the Assassin, the first big boss of the War of the Chosen DLC. Next to being a pretty strong enemy, she also has a few unique strengths and weaknesses. First of all, and this is a randomly generated strength, if we miss a shot against her, she will gain additional protection, so we want to make sure our shots connect, and this is a strength that she always has, the Assassin does not trigger overwatches, so we can't really set any traps for her. To make up for that, her randomly chosen weakness is that she takes additional damage beginning with the 4th attack each turn, and this is once again always the same, she also takes additional damage from Reapers, so in our case from Outrider Dragunova.
At the very least, you will die with honor.
Now, just seconds after showing herself, the Assassin vanishes again and we get a turn for the Lost, although so far none of them show up. What we could do now is go look for the Assassin, who is stealthed but can actually be revealed if we get in a close flanking position. Very often she's hiding in the building up here, but in my opinion it is a much better idea to let her come to us, even if that means that she will get in one attack at the beginning of her turn. And so, since overwatches are pointless, let's just end our turn here and see what happens.
You only delay the inevitable. Shall I ferry your soldier back to my stronghold, where they can tell me of your operations more freely?
It looks like the Chosen knocked one of our soldiers into a daze. We need to get someone over there to help them get back on their feet before that thing can move in and attack.
Okay, so that's what the Assassin normally does on her first turn if we let her, melee attack a soldier and potentially daze them. Now, a daze is much better than getting killed, but it still puts Ranger Starfall out of action for now. If we don't revive him, the Assassin can actually capture him, but with our adversary standing so close to a car, I think we can avoid that. Moving up with Rookie Nicholas, the assassin is just in range of a grenade, and since we can't risk missing shots against her, explosives are the way to go.
Throwing grenade!
Now, this also shreds her 1 point of armor, meaning all future attacks will no longer be reduced by that, and the next explosion will also blow up the car. So let us throw Dragunova's Claymore next, an explosive device that can be triggered by shooting at it. All the while, our Reaper will not reveal herself.
It requires patience.
Let's also keep in mind that she does extra damage against the assassin, and yes, that extends to explosives as well, so this should hurt quite a bit.
I had not expected this conflict to be so exhilarating. You surprised me, XCOM. Still, the Elder's will is that none survive this day. I cannot leave that to fortune.
The sonic dispersal waves emitting from that pod are crisscrossing a massive area.
Meaning that thing just rang the dinner bell for every remaining Lost in the city.
An accurate assessment. The entire Lost biomass seems to be converging on this position.
Then let's get you all the hell out of there. Firebrand's en route to the evac coordinates now. Get moving.
Okay, so the explosions of the Claymore and the car did actually do enough damage to drive off the assassin for now. She is of course not dead yet, but will leave us alone for the time being. Instead, we will now have to fight our way through yet another horde of Lost to get to the extraction zone, but we already have some experience with that. Very importantly, Ranger Antak is now also no longer dazed, so we don't need to send anyone over to revive him and can instead start moving forward. And this time it looks like we will be facing a swarm right at the beginning, as the first Lost now make an appearance.
Initial analysis of these creatures' movement patterns reveals an almost coordinated attack strategy. Perhaps they are not the mindless automatons they initially appeared to be. An intriguing, if not horrific, possibility.
And yes, if there is indeed more to these Lost than it seems, then we should keep a close eye on them. For now though, let's make sure we take them all out, starting with Sniper Sapphire West.
Good riddance.
And followed up with a guaranteed hit from Pratal Mox. Unfortunately though, he doesn't get the kill, so Alyssa gets to shoot again.
Hostile neutralized.
And that's all they can hit for now, so let's once again send up our Cloaked Reaper to scout ahead and secure the high ground. And just like in the first part of the mission, the upper floor is clear, so we can slowly bring up the rest of the squad as well. Once again, we will likely meet much less resistance if we traverse the area on this elevated path, not to mention the aim bonus we get for shooting from above. And here's the swarm, a bit smaller this time around, but still no need to brute force our way through all of these Lost. Let's force them to catch up with us instead.
How many of these creatures can still be in this city?
Advent has been sending purifier squads into these cities for years, yet somehow the Lost survive, even thrive. We do not know why.
Now, with a Lost on the balcony here, we can now do something pretty neat. After opening the door and checking that the corridor ahead is clear, we can now destroy said balcony with a grenade from Mox. That will remove the ladder, and since the Lost can climb walls, they will no longer be able to get up this way. Also, it will conveniently kill the Lost from fall damage.
Explosive out!
And yes, it looked a bit weird, but the Lost did not die from the explosion but from falling to the ground, and so we unlocked the Have a Nice Trip achievement. The explosion did, however, trigger another swarm, so let's make sure we get everyone up to the high ground before it arrives. Once again then, the swarm is much smaller than the first one we faced with Mox, Twitchy and Sapphire on their own, but as you can see, there are also plenty of Lost on the map that have not yet been triggered, so we probably should not complain about a lack of enemies.
The shadows fail us.
I did not exist when this city stood whole. Still, I feel revulsion at what happened to this place, to these people.
I believe you.
The removal of that ladder, however, seems to have confused our adversaries a bit, and I think it won't be the last time. However, a few dashers have managed to climb up from the other side, so let's make sure they don't get any attacks in on the next turn.
One of many.
And once again, Sharpshooter West is a great candidate for the job.
Target disabled.
With the upper level clear, we can now move everyone up again, and then end our turn with the extraction zone already right outside the window on the other side.
I must reload.
Before we can prepare our exit though, more Lost are slowly climbing up the many balconies of this building, so destroying one ladder has not made us invincible, although that is technically also possible with enough explosives.
There will come a day when my people take back this place for our own.
If they are all like you, that is a likely possibility.
And while Mox and Dragunova are growing fond of each other here, let's continue clearing the room, once again starting with our dedicated Lost exterminator, Sapphire West.
Enemy destroyed. Hostile neutralized.
Up next, we can also give a few kills to our Ranger Starfall Antag. I think he has more than earned his chance at revenge here today.
Target neutralized. Target down.
And with the balcony cleared, let's make sure it will never be used again and blow it up. That way the Lost below will have to take a slightly longer route to get up to us.
Get ready for a surprise!
The next swarm is then triggered immediately, but again that is not much of a concern for us. The most important thing is that we can still get down and into the extraction zone. So let's assemble near the windows here, and then we can probably finish the mission on the next turn.
It is under my watch.
I see everything. Got it covered. Just off the mark.
I have failed.
Enemy destroyed.
Detecting additional Lost converging near the evacuation coordinates. I advise caution. It would seem the Lost are on to our strategy.
It is the Elder's will that this alliance fall. It will take more than mere Lost for that to happen.
Okay, so thanks to a well-placed reaction shot, Twitchy earns the promotion to Corporal, even though she already received that in an earlier part of the mission. Be that as it may, she has safely leveled up now, but perhaps we can farm a few more kills before we leave, as we send Rookie Finlay out first to take in the full extent of the horde that we are facing. Yes, that is looking like one hell of a target practice session, and so let's now see how many kills Nicholas can get.
Good riddance.
And there we go, with another promotion. He likely would have gotten it after the mission anyway, but it's still nice to see.
Burn your ammo fast! I got nothing.
Alright, 3 kills for Mouth. Let's see if Sapphire West can top that, but judging from past performance, she most likely can. Okay, 3 kills for her as well. Up next we have teammate Cake Twitchy Grace. Only 1 kill with her, and yes, we could have gotten a lot more with a grenade, but let's give everyone a fair chance to rack up some kills here before we leave.
Efficient attack.
Mox meanwhile completely misses his target, and that means we are down to the last 2, with Outrider Dragunova going next. Right, we could have chosen a target with less HP, but in the grand scheme of things we still did pretty well, I think. And since we are probably already in the territory of diminishing returns here, let us now move our injured ranger into the evac zone as well, and finally finish the mission.
The entire swarm converges upon us. We cannot hold this position much longer.
Outrider to Avenger, where the hell's our exit? This is as low as I can get her!
No! I do not intend to die this day. I will follow. Foxtala 410.
Time to return home, traitor!
Our new alliance with these outlying resistance factions presents an intriguing opportunity to study the varying means of survival they each employed all these years.
Okay, so 1 more achievement unlocked, 6 people went into the evac zone, and sadly only 5 returned home, and 1 of them heavily injured. But of those 5, 4 have received promotions, so let's take a look at our sharpshooter Sapphire West. For every rank after Squaddy, we can now choose which ability to pick. Long Watch allows Alyssa to fire reaction shots against targets that she can only see because of squad sight, while Return Fire gives her a free pistol reaction shot if she comes under fire herself. Since we ideally want to keep that from happening in the first place though, Long Watch is my preferred choice, also because it is a proactive rather than a reactive ability. Moving on, we have Grenadier Twitchy, who I think I've actually called Heavy a couple times during the video, and for some reason we are also informed of her Squaddy ability again here. Please just ignore that. For her next one, we can choose between the defensive-minded blast padding, giving her 1 point of armor and a damage reduction against explosive attacks, while Shredder allows her to destroy our enemy's armor, and that is also what we are going with, simply because the armor point from blast padding won't be of use for long, and once again to take the proactive instead of the reactive ability. Moving on then, we have our injured ranger Starfall Antag, who for some reason also gets the Squaddy pop-up again here, and with him we can choose between stealth and damage. Phantom allows him to keep concealment even if the rest of the squad is detected, similar to the Reaper, while Blade Master gives his melee attack a flat damage increase and extra aim. Both are very useful, but we are going Blade Master with him, even though he won't get to use it for quite some time. Finally then, we have Rookie Mouth Finlay, who gets promoted to another Grenadier, very useful as we now also have a backup for Twitchy. Also, in terms of loot, we only get the mission-specific rewards.
Efficiently executed and no casualties. You can lead the Reapers any day, Commander. Well done.
And there we are, we have obtained some intel and our first scientist, and we have recruited our very first Reaper.
The forces of Advent have taken many many captives in their time, but they are not nearly as persuasive as I am.
Our first skirmisher, meanwhile, has sadly fallen into the hands of the assassin, but Mox is still very much alive, so with a bit more work, we might be able to break him out of captivity and have him join our ranks as well.
We should talk to our friends with the Resistance. If we deploy on a covert action, they can help us find out where our captured soldier is being held.
Thank you for sending additional support staff to assist me, Commander. I will make sure they are put to good use.
Here we can now see the portrait of Dr. Adam Jagielski, our first scientist, who was submitted by patron Xlagash. I'm pretty sure I'm butchering that, so apologies in advance. In any case, born in Poland in October of 2000, his biography reads as follows. Born and raised in Warsaw, Poland. During invasion, was only survivor from chrysalid ambush on refugee convoy. Witnessed death of his family and friends, seeks revenge and opportunity to kill aliens. Give him a gun and you will see. Straight and to the point, but sadly likely working in a lab instead of with a gun, I think he will do some great work for us nonetheless.
We may have chosen a different means of resistance, but our people fight for the same reason, for the world we once knew. Together we will end this occupation, or die trying.
One last reminder then that we have also picked up a new squad member who already comes with a predetermined name not submitted by any patron supporter, but I think she will be just as useful for us. Exactly how useful, that remains to be seen, but not today, as I think we have done more than enough for one episode, so let's make the cut here. As always, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, then I would be very happy if you could leave a thumbs up. If you like what I'm doing and want to support me and my channel further, then you can go ahead and subscribe to stay up to date, grab some merch over on shop.petecomplete.com, or check out and maybe even pledge to the Pete Complete Patreon. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.